Welcome back, guys, to another exciting episode of Be Different Podcast. I'm your host, Nekesa Esther, and I'm so excited and glad to be alive, guys. Basically, just glad. This week, we, mourned Matthew Perry. Rather, let's celebrate his life. But gosh, guys, I was so affected. Friends is like a staple. Like it's literally... I hope my boss doesn't watch this, but it runs up chini when I'm working. I'm just watching Friends and laughing and setting mood and doing what. So, yeah, I was among the ones who were so affected. Rest easy, Matthew Perry, and you touched so many lives. I know you have no idea how much we knew you here. Nairobi, Kenya, Africa, but we celebrate you. We celebrate your life and the lives that you touched. And guys, we are introducing the new month. The king and queen are in Kenya. I don't know how that information affects you, but I hope you're hosting them in your own Kenyan way, and it should be an exciting thing. Yeah, so we have a guest who is going to introduce herself, and this episode is going to be about her and her life. So Kinya will tell us what she has done differently in her life. Welcome, Kinya.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being here.
Yeah. So tell us more about yourself. Introduce yourself like fully.
Right. Hi, everyone. My name is Kinya Gitonga. I am a psychologist, a final year student at the University of Nairobi. I'm also an active mental health advocate. And above all, I am an author to materials that create awareness on mental well-being. Yeah.
Well, you guys, Kinya has authored 2 books, Thrive and The House of Anger. So she's going to tell us how she arrived here. And I mean, Kinya is in 4th year, right?
Yes.
4th year, guys, 4th year. And she has already authored 2 books. So if you're out there and you're thinking of writing books, what are you waiting for? Okay, just write start. I think that's the start of this episode, is just start writing that book that you've been thinking of writing on.
Yeah.
As Kinya is about to tell us how she ended up here.
All right.
Yes, so Kinya, please take us through do you want to start with how you became an author or how you are a mental health advocate?
How I landed to psychology. Oh my God. It's a beautiful story. I wouldn't say that I knew I wanted to be a psychologist back then in childhood, because we know careers mutate from primary to high school to college. You've changed your career 100 times. But I knew I wanted something in the medical field. And so when I was trying to join in campus, that's how I found myself in psychology. But yes, given a chance, I'll still choose psychology. I mean, it's everything that I wanted, yet I didn't know I wanted. But it has been of benefit to me and also to them that I relate with, because each and every day I learn something new. And other than that, actually also assisting others, it has been really, really important. And it has been a good journey. Other than psychology, I have taken several short courses, because people might wonder, how are you in 4th year and you're writing? What are you writing about? So in my 2nd year, I did a short course, which is HIV testing and counseling. In my 3rd year, I did another short course, which was National Youth Guidance and Counseling, still at the University of Nairobi. And right now, as I'm winding up my degree, I'm finishing up with another short course, which is Trainer of Trainers.
Okay.
All these short courses have really given me skills and actually allowed me to practice even before graduating. And that's how I found myself as a mental health advocate. Yeah.
Wow. I'll ask questions about the short courses later, but then now, how did you end up authoring 2 books? Where do you get the time to, study, still do your life and write books? Number 1. Number 2, are you, do you have confidence in your writing skills? Some people say, I can't write, even if I want to. Maybe someone else can help me to write.
Yes.
So when did you discover this? When did you learn that you have this strength, this skill? And when did you decide, what, I'm writing a book?
You're right. I used to love writing, even back in high school. The competitions that we used to have where people read compositions, insha's. And that's why I realized that I love writing. But then I didn't know that I'll come to write books. So when I joined 1st year, I still wanted to do something, because when we joined, Corona came. and we went back at home. So we were studying online. Now I was wondering, what do I do with my time? That I started blogging, but still writing on mental health, because I'm a curious person.
Okay.
And then back at home, there's no one who had done psychology. So I was really curious, what is this psychology? How can it assist me, so that I learn that I can blog. So I created my own blog where I used to write my articles and all that. And in second year, we had an innovation week, which was hosted here at UN. So I managed to be part of the media team, and we used to write articles on what is happening and all that. And I also got assistance from one of my lecturers. His name is Dr. Wango. He also has a counseling magazine. So I used to join them and see how they write, how to perfect my skills and all that. So after that, that's when I realized that my blog has been growing day by day, and I have a lot of articles in there. So I questioned myself, if I can write millions of articles in it, why can't I compile them to be something that can really assist? But then I didn't know, where do I start, how do I go about it? And so when I started practicing, I learned that a lot of my clients, they really have certain issues, so I started classifying them as case studies. And then I realized that, oh, this is a problem, it needs to be addressed. But every time we have more of trainings, verbal conversations, and they come for follow-ups, they are forgetting. They cannot remember what we talked about. So then I realized that, yes, this is a problem, but then I need to address it not only in the verbal way, but also writing. So that is how I arrived at writing. But of course, I also had self-sabotage. I also lacked confidence, because now I was wondering, in second year, what do I write about? Who will buy materials from my second year? And then after some time, I naturally am my own cheerleader. Even before people cheer me up, up on your mom, I'm always like, you can do this, you can manage that. Yeah, so now I wrote my very first draft. I went with it to Dr. Wango. We went through it, and he assisted me. This is how we do it. This is how we write. This is how you read from a reader's perspective. And so from then, I've been moving on day by day, writing each and every day. I write daily, because this is something that I'm so passionate about. But that means that I also have to read a lot, not only the theory bit, but also the practical aspect, whereby you engage with clients, you get to know, because this is a practical thing. You just can't write the theoretical aspect alone. But it has been an amazing journey. I have really enjoyed learning each and every day. Challenges are there, but then you have to keep on pushing.
Okay. How long does it take you to write? Like, which book did you write first?
The House of Anger came first.
Okay. How long did it take you to write The House of Anger?
Writing the draft was really easy. It took me around 3 months to actually have everything around it, bearing in mind that now I have to also do the research. So 3 months was it. But then the big thing, because it was my first book, I didn't know, where do I get an editor from? Other than Daktari, having gone through it, need expert editors. I also didn't know where to get a publishing house from. So that took a toll on me. So it took me about a year. But then in my third year, the House of Anger was ready.
You were?
The House of Anger was ready. Yeah, the major...
Yeah, like, so how did you go about it? Did you get, did you get a professional editor? Did you get that house, publishing house?
Yes, I walked in town the whole day, knocking from one publishing house to the next. And the major thing about Nairobi is they are editors, they are publishing houses. But then when you're writing the non-fiction aspect, especially on mental health, you need a professional editor in the same field who can check your referencing, because there are guidelines on referencing and all that. So that what was a little bit tricky, but at the end of the day, I got it. But yes, getting my first books, they came with errors. They came with errors, including the cover. It had errors. And I think that pushed me a little bit down, but I'm one kind of a person whom I don't give up. I find a challenge, I'll keep on working on it until I ensure that, yes, I've gotten a breakthrough. So the very first 20 books had some errors, but then after that, I had them worked on, edited. And the fact that it was self-publishing, you have to keep on being welcome to feedback. So that means you have to keep on having one edition to the next edition. But all the same, it is always learning. It is always learning.
So did you get the professional editor?
Yes, I did. I got one. And his name was Maina. I really wish that Maina could Yeah, there is, but you really did a good job. I cannot congratulate him enough because he really assisted me, you know, the editing and also having the books printed. Yeah.
All right. So tell me, according to you,
Yes.
the House of Anger, has it covered everything about anger, about what we go through? Now that you've said you've mixed from a point of research and the practical bit. Yeah.
Yes, it does. And the beauty about it is I normally do not write on a specific audience, because in mental health issues, the age, the young, professionals, people in the corporate field, students and all that, they get affected. I know in writing we need to have, at the back of your mind, you need to have a specific audience. But then for me, I ensure that my writings are tailored to general audience. If I give this book to someone in primary school, I'm so sure that they will benefit and they will understand. So it is always holistic, whereby we get to have an issue, we learn what causes it, how would we actually address it even without the help of a professional. This means that these are practical strategies that you can exercise. I also make it engaging because in it you will find some sort of tables where you write your output, what is working, what is not working. And I also ensure that it has lived experiences whereby people can actually share the experiences so that you can learn from them. Because maybe I have an issue, I don't know how to address it, but I can learn from someone else's story, how they did it. So ensure that my writings are holistic all around. And I also would really love to emphasize that I look at an issue, yes, but it not only affect the aftermath of anger, we also look at what caused it. Because you can deal with you being angry and all that, but then at the end of the day, have we addressed why you got angry? Yeah.
Oh, that's really nice.
Thank you.
Okay. So this one, the draft took 3 months, and then through this is your second book.
Yes, the House of Anger is my second.
So what did you learn here that you moved on with here, and that made you, you know, have an easier time or better time than? Yeah.
The very first thing that I learned was writing from a reader's perspective.
Okay.
Because at times I am writing, but I'm only communicating to myself. What about someone who is reading who has no idea on what I'm writing on? And the second thing, publishing Thrive was way much easier than it was for Anger, because I had known this is whom I loop in, this is whom I go toward. This is how I get feedback actually even before publishing the actual book. So it was more easy for me to publish Thrive than it was for the House of Anger. And the fact that my confidence was already boosted. I didn't have self-sabotage. I was really confident. And I also knew the main issue that I was addressing. So Thrive came way much easier than the House of Anger. Yeah.
Okay. So can you tell me, maybe from your own experience, have you included anything about your own experiences in the books?
Yes, especially the House of Anger.
Okay.
Yeah. I have had a lot of people, I am a Meru, so a lot of people say that Merus get angry easily. Not everyone. Not everyone, but personally, yes, I had anger issues. But I also saw a lot of, in my mental health advocacy, I'm more focused on teenagers and youths. So a lot of people that I saw back at Kenyatta, I used to practice there at youth center. There are a lot of teens from high school. So most of them, they were really expelled from school or suspended because of a tiny thing that ticked off and erupted. So I know right now someone is thinking that, oh, this kid had anger issues. But then remember, this is something maybe they learned from family. This is something that they saw what their parents were doing. Maybe this is something that they inherited. But this means that this book is not only for these teens, it's also for their teachers. It is also for parents who are entering them. So, yes, with my own personal experiences, they are a lot. But also I include the experiences of other people. Because what I have experienced may not work for someone else. But you know, when you mix up the stories, it gets to be more and more easy and practical.
Yeah. So what do you do? I like the fact that you're saying you've practiced, how do you call it? Counseling. Is it I'm looking for the word. You practice counseling.
Yes.
Or you've practiced
counseling or practice psychology.
Yes, that's what I do want to say. So you've been practicing counseling for how long now?
I've been practicing for 2 years. When this year ends, now it gears into the 3rd year. Although it differs, it's relatively the films that I've been, because I started with HIV testing and counseling. Remember that these clients also have to be cancelled before testing and after testing. And also their caregivers and all that, they also have to undergo counseling. And then from then, when I did my National Youth Guidance and Counseling, that's when now I also practiced in the realm of young people. Yeah.
All right. So that question is geared to take me to the question of you as a young person and counseling. Imagine counseling a HIV, you know, patient. How do you go about separating yourself from the, you know, from the things that you hear, from the things that you deal with?
That really
Considering you're young, that's where I'm coming from. I don't know whether you deal with people older than you, or there's an age limit to the people that you deal with.
Yes, I do. I also counsel older people. But in Kenya, I feel like a lot of us really look down on young people, and they focus more on age than skills. Because believe you me, there might be someone else. I'm not saying there is someone, but I believe there's someone else older than I am.
It's like, you enter a room and you're like, what? You're the counselor. I'm done. I'm God.
Yeah.
Okay,
they lack skills, whereas there's someone else who is young and they are belittled, which is not okay, because skills don't come with age. It depends on how someone can really execute their skills. And so I used to face intimidation back then, especially when someone older comes and they're like, no, I wanted to see someone who is older than you are. Of course, professional, I am to get someone who is older than I am, because if a client is not comfortable, a client is always right. You have to really ensure that they are comfortable. But now that's where professionalism comes in, especially with clients, because if now you're really talking about HIV and all that, most of a lot of people might have bias, but then you have to leave your beliefs, you have to leave your values, and now listen and actually make decisions in place of these clients. It's more of, we call it, whereby you give them unconditional positive regard, and you actually have to look at things from their own end. Yes, you don't have to impose your beliefs, you won't have to impose your attitudes on them. You really have to attend to them as they are. So professionalism really is required, and also you have to just be genuine. You don't have to really, you know, fake things, especially when they have reacted. You're like, oh my God, she's so beautiful, why didn't she react? No, you really have to address things as they are. Yeah.
All right. And what is your takeout when you are counseling most young people, teenagers rather, the youth? This one I'm asking because of parents, because I know parents can do anything to find out what's going on with their teenage children. Just like a rough, a range of issues. Yeah,
we've also seen statistics actually put it correctly in Kenya that we're having a rise on HIV and also teenage pregnancies. So we really have a lot of work to work on, especially when it comes to young people. We've been doing a lot of sensitization when it comes to verbal and all that. It makes me wonder, what are we doing wrong in that we are really addressing things? We are holding on conversations and all that, yet the cases are rising. But most importantly, on really emphasis on communication, not only from the parents' perspective, but also from young people. They really have to learn to express yourself, air out your views, especially in campus. You're facing an issue, you don't want to talk about it, and that's why it leads you to maybe having someone sponsor your life in exchange for sex. And that's how a lot of us as ladies, we get to expose ourselves. So communication is really key. Assertive communication. Yes.
I have 2 questions that are battling in my mind. So the first one is, you know, it almost sounds like you're painting for us a picture that even if you finish school, you will just start practicing. Like you won't be jobless. You won't be jobless, you won't tarmac. You have some experience that you can say already, I have this number of years. You know the way jobs advertisements have those number of years experiences. Do you guys apply for jobs? 1.
Yes.
2, do you need, you know, those years of experience? Is that a challenge in your industry?
Yes, each and every industry has its own challenges, but psychology also needs one to have some level of experience, which I've had a lot of my peers complain about. But I would say you don't have to do so much to actually attain these limit. You only have to do volunteering, because also in volunteering you're gaining skills. But most of them don't want to volunteer. Which I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I feel like also when you're in campus, you have a lot of free time, probably for your long holidays. What are you doing with them? Are you investing your time in something that will actually amount to a way much bigger thing later when you graduate? Because now when you just sit around, the experience would bring itself on your CV. You have to put yourself out there. That's where the difference comes, and you have to be different and leave the comfort of your house, Wi-Fi and all that, and get yourself in the industry. There's no one will call you and know you were a student, a psychology student. You need somewhere to volunteer. But when you take yourself out there, you actually offer your interest. People will always give you a space. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
The second question that I was grappling with is, have you ever made bad decisions in your life as Kenya? Away from the professional, so have you ever made bad decisions in your life as Kenya?
Yes, I have. I was actually, times back I used to really fear making mistakes, or also trying things and failing. But right now I've learned to be easy on myself. I've made bad decisions, but I've learned also not to be so hard on myself, because life itself is already hard. So when I stumble, I've learned to spring back and pick up from where I left it. But you also need to communicate, because at times you might act like you're okay, this and that happened, but deep down you're not okay. So that's where communication comes in. You need to communicate so that someone can tell you, this is where you did wrong. This is how you can do it different.
Do you have a counselor? Do you have like someone you go to?
Yes. Yes, especially now when you're in counseling, the counseling field of it, you really need counseling in as much as you're counseling others. Because I remember the first time I went for my counseling session, I was like, I'm always on that end, but today I'm on the receiving end. It felt a little bit funny, but over time it's something I've learned to really make use of. You really need it.
So how long did you, like, you started going for counseling after how long since you started practicing? Pardon my probing, but I am curious.
When I started practicing for a year, and the funny thing is that I used to carry my clients' issues back at home. I'm like, oh God, I've been having sessions with this client and I cannot see change. What is wrong with me? What is not working? But I underwent some sort of training. Other than my short courses, I do attend a lot of mental health conversations, talks. So I attended it. It was called psychological first aid. That is where I learned that you cannot save everyone. We call it the severe syndrome. And also differentiating my own life and my clients' issues. Whereby if it's, I'm just done with work, that is work. And now go back to my personal self. So that's when I really went for my first session. But also before practicing, you need to do 10 sessions to really certify you that you're good to go.
So you do 10 sessions of you attending counseling?
Yes.
Before you go back and
practice.
All right.
Yeah. Especially after graduating, you actually have to do them so that you can get those that are getting affiliated with the counseling board and all that, so that they can certify you. You have to do them. Yeah.
And how has it been, like, for your own personal life, even just going through campus?
Yes.
Have you been consistent, number one, in going for this, like you receiving counseling? Have you been consistent, or you've just been on this other end?
I've been consistent, especially on what we call supervision counseling, whereby you're practicing, but you need someone to really ascertain that you're doing the right thing. Because trends keep on changing, even in the medical field. Maybe what you've been doing after some time, it's getting outdated. So you need someone to tell you, like, hey, you need to do this and that. So other than counseling, I also do supervision counseling. It also helps you.
Oh, you have to go through.
Yes, I have to go through. It helps you polish your skills. But when it comes to counseling, because I am human, remember, and you also have experiences that I need assistance with. So I would say that it has been consistent for me. But previously it wasn't. I actually didn't know I need it, but it is very essential. So even when you're not a counselor, when you're not in this field, you need counseling when it is necessary. Because remember, there's someone who might have an issue, you feel like, I would break down if it was me. But for them, they're just okay. So it is relative. Yeah.
All right. So back on the question of when you've made a bad decision as Kenya. Kenya, do you separate yourself between, Kenya the girl and Kenya the counselor? Like you separate yourself?
I have to, because I also have friends, and they're like, now you have to leave your counseling thing and now join us. But of course, it's these friends that I go back to and tell them that I'm experiencing this and that. Previously, they were like, you're the one who is always hearing us out, then how would we even listen to you? How do I advise you? But then over time, they just get to understand.
Did you learn to strike that balance? Because I know it's not easy.
It's difficult, but over time I really have, because we need social support. Social support might be terms of family, it might be friends, people who just you vibe with, they understand you without judgment whatsoever. And when you're having difficulties that you badly need someone to speak to, they are there to hear you out. It doesn't mean that they always have solutions to everything, but remember, this is what we call talk therapy, whereby you having an issue, just talk through it. It helps you ease the emotions, because remember, when we have things that we really shove under the carpet, they tend to affect you unconsciously. Yeah, so talking is important. Yeah.
So you do talk?
I am one of a person who talks, or I write.
Yeah, because you seem like a very quiet person. Tell me the challenges, apart from the challenges you faced of, you know, age, discrimination, because trust me, Kenya, even me, I'll just be like, this girl still needs to live before I can tell her my problems. Apart from the age discrimination, have you had a challenge selling books? Because I mean, we have so many authors. And then, remember, this is self-help.
Yes.
I love reading. I read books every month. I know I didn't meet you yesterday. We've met like Kitambo when I was told you've written books and I should meet you and all. So what are the challenges you have faced selling your books or convincing anyone that you're an author and this book is worth, you sell the books, right?
Yes, I do.
And this book is worth buying.
Yes. The issue with Kenyans, reading culture, zero. Reading culture, it's not there. You know, you have a client and they're really into buying the book, but they have excuses in their fingertips. I don't love reading. My schedule is busy. I would have bought it for a friend, but I don't know if they would like it. I've bought it for my daughter, but I don't know if this really fits her. So, you know, persuading someone to really buy, you know, selling is more of marketing your idea.
Sure.
Someone has to feel like, when I buy this book, I'm getting value for my money. But then Kenyans and reading, it's something else. So I won't say basically it's just that. But then marketing, it has been something. I actually felt like I need a whole class on marketing. But then with time, I've learned to get into spaces where people are more open into reading. I've joined several book clubs. And so when I also do trainings, talks, and such conversations in schools, in organizations, churches, I carry them with me. So I think that has really assisted me in pushing the sales. But for someone who is really not into a lot of conversations and all that, it might be a little bit difficult.
To sell, to
Yes,
push
to
the book
sell.
to sell.
Yeah. But then you also have to learn to communicate, because you might have someone who really wants to buy, but they really want to feel convinced that they're getting value for their money. And that also means that whatever you write in the content, it is really beneficial, because when someone reads it and they feel like I have benefited, they are likely to refer someone to you, or maybe post the books for other people to get in touch. Yeah.
I know of, maybe just to help you, I know of writers clubs.
Yes.
That they get in clubs, they are sort of guided, and then publishers, there are publishers who run writers clubs. So among the people, you know, when you get in membership, you are an author, you're an author, then you write a book, and then they hold that, they even do launch, they hold launch events for your book. So as a publishing house, you know, they stand a chance of attracting more people and bringing other writers to read your book, to support you, to give you feedback. Because I feel like if someone, this is a marketing tip, if someone, you know, one of the authors that's known, Silas comes to mind, if he were to read your book and give what is it called, talk about, summarize your book in a paragraph, more people would buy your book, you know, right? More than, you know, instead of just you as a student trying to sell your book to, you know, one-on-one, the way you're doing, you walk with your book and try to tell people, buy my book. Yeah, nowadays I've seen, you know, the Nurias, the the ones that sell their ebooks, where there are options of ebooks, and the others that sell books that deliver in our offices, the bookstores that are selling online.
Yeah,
Should just think of partnering with them.
Nuri has really been of assistance.
Yeah.
Because the moment I walked in there with my book, I was trying to get it in bookshops and it was a little bit difficult. But the moment I walked in there, they were really receptive.
Yeah.
They had them in their stores.
Yeah.
And every time, when I first launched the House of Wanga, they were actually present. And they really assisted, especially now boosting that, yay, a bookshop has my book.
Yeah.
That now
that is
also,
so nice.
Yeah, I also have them in Savani's bookshop,
Okay.
which is in Odeon.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you, Kenya.
Thank you.
So what can you say generally you've done differently? First, I really like that you said you wanted to go in the medical field. You landed in psychology.
Yes.
So it's something you learned from scratch.
Yes,
In terms of your confidence building, even in building a career.
Yeah.
Did you think there was any hope there?
Of course, people, they prefer familiar grounds. Because now in my family, there's no one who has done psychology. In my own village, there's no one who has done psychology. So there's always like...
In your whole village?
Yes.
we have a whole ambassador.
Where will you get a job from? Where will you be practicing?
Yeah.
So when I came, I was so curious. Now I'm finishing school. What will I do? You know, and then I know there's no one who can connect me to any job. So I knew I really want to do something. And that is how I also started an organization in my third year. We called it Sound Mentor. And I realized that a lot of young people, in as much as they want to get a place to practice, at times it might be difficult because you have the bias that, young people are lazy, you just have to push them to do things. So in Sound Mentor, we try to absorb as many young people as possible, especially in conversations that revolve around empowerment, mental health conversations, where it is peer-to-peer learning. We have spaces, more support groups where we talk about these issues. We partner with other organizations, them that have already established, to bring trainings and offer certificates. And also we've partnered with Chiromo Hospital Group, conversations with Esther, YMCA, and also Red Cross to at times generate pad drives in schools, and also offer mentorship, also programs in schools.
Wow.
So I badly knew I need somewhere where before I even get a job will keep me occupied. And also the organization has also formed a platform for me to now market books as well, because in all these spaces I ensure that I have some table where the books are. And so it has been a little bit difficult, but right now I can say that it has been a different journey. Because when I look at my class whereby we are taking psychology, I have friends who are wondering now, what do I do? I've never practiced, I've never cancelled, I feel like this is not my career.
They feel like it's a waste of a degree.
Yes, yes. But then for me, looking at the choices that I've made, and of course I want to make sacrifices, because in those holidays I'm sitting for a short course. I am training this and that. So I would say that the choices that I made are really what I did different, and also acknowledge the fact that little things matter. Because the little I did that day, it has amounted to something else. Yeah. So just being you, whereby you get to realize your skills as early as possible, you just take off. I would say that give it time, yes, but then take off.
Start.
You can, yes, start. You will never feel ready, but when you start, you learn each and every day. So what I normally keep on affirming myself each and every day is that do what you know is good right now, and when you know better now, do better. Because now when you keep just there wondering, if I did it, maybe it could have worked out, maybe it could have not worked out, you can never know. So you just have to be different by realizing your skills and also starting.
Thank you, Kenya. Do you have a parting shot for young people?
Communicate. We won't know something is not working. We won't know that you really need assistance unless you speak out. So what I would really call us out as young people is that just be you. Be different, but also you have to be your own cheerleader. Because what people will see out here is what is working, but there's a lot of what is not working out there. And now the background thing, that's where you choose to be different. When you feel like you're giving up, you choose to push on.
Push.
Keep on
Wow.
pushing so that it can work.
I love that you've done something about all the biases that you've had. She created an organization, guys, Sound Mental, where she absorbs young people, talk about empowerment, peer-to-peer what? I like what you've said, peer-to-peer learning. They empower each other. They've partnered with organizations where they're getting empowerment and you know, that exposure.
Yeah.
You're learning how things are done, how things work, and you're bridging that gap. Because at the end of the day, when you finish school, and what you've learned in class, this is how things work out here, right? So I'm really, really proud of you. It's an honor to have known you. And I don't know how much you sell the books for and where people can get them.
So the books, The House of Hunger, goes at 600 Kenya shillings.
This one is 600 bob.
Yes. Thrive also right now, it goes at 600 shillings. But we are launching Thrive December 2nd at Alliance. Alliance is actually located at University Way, which is just across from the University of Nairobi.